Hello and welcome to Crucible of Words for yet more dedicated legacy action. Today I had a smaller window to record today, and someone did ask me to do an Oops or Spells League the other day, another one. So I thought, well, I haven't got a lot of time, so let's do one of those. If you're not familiar with this deck, essentially you want to put Balustrade Spy or Undercity Informer into play and then use it to mill your entire library. Because you don't have any lands in your deck, it'll all go in the graveyard. Then these Narcomoebas will pop out, and then you can dread return your Thassa's Oracle. Now you can Cabal Therapy your opponent and yourself to get the bits out of your hand if you need to. But that's basically the combo. So all of this is mana. So the Summoner's Pact is finding you Spirit Guides. It can find you a Wild Cantor to convert mana from one colour to another. Well, green or red into something more usable. It can also find the sideboard cards if necessary. Then we have the combo pieces here, and then we have a little bit of protection. So we have 4 Pact of Negation, 4 Thoughtseize. Essentially what we want to do is kill our opponent, well, not even kill our opponent, just say you win the game on turn 1. That's pretty much it. It's quite a straightforward deck, but the actual play patterns to it and the sideboarding is quite interesting. And I had a lot of fun playing it last time, so I thought I'd give it another go, and I've only got a little while to record today, so I thought, let's give that a go. Sideboard-wise, because we're a very linear, dedicated combo deck, we've got certain pieces. Leyline of Sanctity to stop things like Endurance and Tormod's Crypt. Force of Vigor to stop things like Leyline of the Void and Rest in Peace. Xanthid Swarms to stop things like counterspells. Foundation Breaker is a good catch-all, as well as being a thing that can blow up ley lines and so on and so forth. And a couple of Faerie Macabre in case you need to go a little bit faster. If you've got a deck that can go a little bit faster than you if they're on the play, then you want these, like Reanimator, because they can play a Grizzlebrand and then use that Grizzlebrand to discard your hand and mess up your attempt to combo. So, yeah, that's pretty much it. Relatively straightforward, and I don't have the most amount of time, so we're going to jump into it after a tiny little plug where I say, please like, please subscribe, please comment, it all helps. Alright, on to the league. We want the die roll, which is a good place to start. This hand, we have turn 1, we can make Cabal Ritual, which isn't quite enough, but turn 2 we can do the combo. So this is a turn 2 kill. I think we say keep. I think we play this, and we will pay 3 life, and we will cast Cabal Therapy, tagging our opponent. We have to decide what we're naming. Force of Will is probably the name. Although we can beat Force of Will with Pact of Negation, but we can't beat Thoughtseize. We can beat Chalice here as well. I think we just name Force of Will. It's either that or Brainstorm. Oh, wow. Okay. Can they turn 1 spin us? I think they can. This means we want to play out our Mox, Lotus Petal, in case we don't get to keep our hand next turn. So at least we have more resources to try with whatever hand we end up with. So there's the Ezra Saga. Yep. So they can go Chrome. They can't play both Chrome Moxes unless they've drawn another blue card or another coloured card. But if they have drawn another coloured card, then they can cast Days Undoing and hope to get us. If they've drawn a Chalice of the Void and put it on 1, that doesn't really impact what we're doing. Okay, did they find another blue card for this? They put Days Undoing underneath that one. Okay, they might just be going for the turn 1 Karn instead. Oh, there's a Force of Will there. The turn 1 Karn is a little bit annoying because it shuts off our Lotus Petal. Okay, so this is... They just have an Echo of Eons in their hand now. So what they're going to do here is get a Lion's Eye Diamond, I suspect, and then spin with the Echo of Eons, which isn't actually too bad for us, I don't think. Okay, they're passing the turn here. Interesting. So if we draw a non-artifact piece of mana here, like a Ritual... A Wild Cantor isn't the one we needed here, was it? So I think we play this one tapped. Yeah, okay. So they are a Force of Will deck. Okay, the Ezra Saga is ticking up. We don't care too much about that. Looks like we are... Okay, so they're activating the Calm with their 3 mana from the Lion's Eye Diamond here. Mycosynth Lattice. So they're going to Lattice lock us here. Which is the game. Sure. Turn 1 Karn beats us. I see. So, our opponent is playing artifacts that we want to blow up. They also have counter spells. So kind of in a bit of a rock and a hard place, whatever we do here. So if we're thinking they're some sort of... So they are the Khan's Echoes deck. They will have counter spells, and we just want to go fast on turn 1. So I think we just want this Foundation Breaker in exchange for this Cabal Ritual. Do we want the Force of Vigors is the question. I don't think they have the laydown, but we have the Foundation Breaker if we need it. So I think we submit like this and try and kill them on turn 1. This kills our opponent on turn 1 with Pact of Negation backup. So we can play this out. We can pay 3 life. We can pay this out. We cast the Dark Ritual. So we have 4 mana here. So we have a spare mana. So I would quite like to use this Cabal Therapy to hit our opponent. I think that's free to do here. We know they play Force of Will. Okay, nothing our opponent has there impacts us. Okay, sure. So I didn't see anything resembling a leyline from our opponent there, but they definitely had some things that Force of Vigor needs to hit. Now, the Thought Seizes are going to be very bad on the draw, so I think we just want Force of Vigors on the draw instead of Thought Seizes. I think that makes sense to me, and I'm going to submit, because they have, the Memory's Journey here is good because they have things like Tormod's Crypt in their deck, so I think we submit like this. So our hand has the ability to make 1, 2, 3 mana, and then 4th from the Summoner's Pact. We will have to hit ourselves with a thing later on, but we can't beat... We can use Summoner's Pact to go and get Foundation Breaker if that's a thing that is required from us. So there's going to be Chalice. If it's Chalice for 1, that's fine. Is it fine? Because we have this Dread Return that we can't get rid of, actually. We're going to get stung by this Dread Return. We might have to do a Memory's Journey pile. I guess we see what we draw here. A Cabal Ritual. So we have 1 mana, 2 mana, 3 mana here. Play the Undercity Informer. So we can mill ourselves and then Memory's Journey in the cards we need. But the only problem with that is we are at risk of just getting a draw 7 out of the game here. And our opponent has 8 of those effects. This Dread Return in our hand is really annoying here. I think we have to go to discard and discard the Dread Return here. There's no other way that we can put this card in our graveyard because we can't resolve one of those. So here, okay. So we go to clean up and we'll discard this Dread Return, and then we have to kill next turn as long as our opponent doesn't kill us. Okay, so it's our turn, is it? Right, they pass through without much fanfare there. Let's play this Crypt. Let's cast this Cabal Ritual, I think. It's black. And this. If they counter this, we can go again with the Cabal Ritual next turn. If they counter the Undercity Informer, we can go with Balustrade Spy. So we've kind of got it coming and going a bit here. Our opponent does have 5 cards in hand. A Force of Negation. Sure. They exiled a Day's Undoing. Okay. We let them have a turn. And then we try again. Okay. Turn Timber Symbiosis. This is good. Let's try a Cabal Ritual again. We ideally want to try and do this without using our Summoner's Pact unless we really have to. If they counter this, we can go again next turn using our Summoner's Pact. Force of Will, pitching Narset. Sure. Alright, so our opponent's turn. Lotus Petal. Sure. Simian Spirit Guide. Okay, so we can do this without exposing ourselves to the Summoner's Pact loss if it goes wrong. Can I have Balustrade Spy, please? Do you have a third Force effect? Okay, so we got the game there. We actually had to play a little bit interestingly around what our opponent had. If they'd have put Chalice for 0, it probably hurts themselves, but it would hurt us more as well. But yeah, we managed to pull a victory out there, and I'm quite happy with the way we navigated that one. All right, on to round 2. So our opening hand doesn't have one of our little guys in, so we have to mulligan this one. Again, we don't have one of our little guys in, so we're mulliganing again. This goes off on turn 1 with Thoughtseize. No, we don't have enough for that, do we? So we only get to keep 4 cards. So we keep these. We definitely don't want the Narcomoeba. We have to bin off one more card. So if we bin off the Turn Timber Symbiosis, we can go Lotus Petal, Dark Ritual, Cabal Ritual. So that's 4 mana. So we still can't Thoughtseize, but if we draw any other mana, we can Thoughtseize. So we can either wait a turn, try and Thoughtseize. Oh no, the Turn Timber. I think we're more likely to draw mana, so we put the Turn Timber back and hope that we can draw something for the protection. Now our opponent plays like a Plains Mother of Runes, we'll be happy. A Polluted Delta. A Reanimate. We came to game, so here we are. Dark Ritual. Okay, looks like our opponent might be trying to counter this one, which would certainly set us back a little bit. A Spell Pierce. Okay, I don't really know what my opponent's playing. Spell Pierce is an unusual one. So it could be a Sneak Attack deck. Wish I kept the Turn Timber now, but there we are. A Narcomoeba. So this is unplayable rubbish. Cool. Let's see what we draw next time. Brainstorm with Polluted Delta, so they can make it a perfect Brainstorm. Polluted Delta. Okay, so some sort of rug deck. If they don't play a threat this turn, I have to imagine they're more on the control side rather than the sort of rug delvery type things that some people are still playing. Schooling Tarn. Sure. A Lotus Petal. So we could go again in another turn if we draw some more mana. So we just have to pass. Our opponent is not threatening to win the game anytime soon, thankfully. But they're probably amassing a certain number of cards that make our life very difficult. Lotus Petal Dark Ritual means they're probably looking for counter spells. They suspect, I imagine, that we are more on the Storm end. But a lot of things that are good against Storm are good against us in this in people's main decks. So they're just going to be looking for counter spells and then a way of closing the game out. An Expressive Iteration, sure. Play all the best cards is a good way to approach any format. Lightning Bolt, okay. So that was just an anticipate for them. Don't mind that. Okay, we don't have to do anything just yet. In an ideal world, I'd like to be able to Thoughtseize our opponent. And because they're giving us time, we may as well take that time to draw some cards. We can play the Lotus Petal out next turn, so we don't have to discard. I don't think we use the Fire for Thoughtseize. We really want the Crypt of Agadeem to do that, or whatever it's called. A Tiger. An Uro. That's certainly a way of closing a game out. So next turn, they can hardcast the Uro. Sacrifice unless it escaped. So it's not if it came into play from the graveyard, so I can't reanimate it and get cheeky. And we have to say go. We can take a couple of hits from it, but it's going to accrue them lots of cards as they go. Ideally, I'd like my opponent to not see any cards that might give them impression what we're doing, if we can help it. So the reanimate, I don't want to discard because they'll bring in graveyard hate, definitely, if I do that. Okay, so here's the Uro. It kills us in 4 turns. Oh no, that was the one from... They had another one from hand, I see. Apologies. A Dread Return. I don't want to discard that. I have to discard one of these cards. I could just Thoughtseize our opponent, get some more information about their deck and what's in their hand. That does mean that we're further away from being able to do any good stuff. I think we discard a Thoughtseize here, because I just don't want our opponent to see the Narcomoebas and stuff. We're more or less fishing for game 2 and 3 at this point, I think. Expressive Iteration. Yep, our opponent's got many cards. The fact that we haven't seen any white sources is interesting to me. Okay, a Wasteland. So that's telling me that it's going to be difficult to keep one of our lands in play. A Chrome Mox, though. That is a card that we can use. So we can play this. And we imprint our Reanimate onto it. And we Thoughtseize our opponent. What are you working with over there? You've got a whole grip full of cards. I assume they have enough redundancy that they can just... Stubborn Denial. What is our opponent up to over there? I'm not going to sacrifice our Lotus Petal for that, I don't think. Maybe I should have sacrificed the Lotus Petal, but then we're going to be trying to find more stuff for it. We're going to need to discard our Dread Return at some point as well. This must be the Uro from the graveyard turn. Yep, have your Uro. What are we going to have here? Simian Spirit Guide. So we can jam. Our opponent's got 7 cards in hand. I think we just have to go whenever we get a chance to. And a lightning bolt to the face. Getting some cards in the hand. Yep, we take a chunk. You got nothing. A lightning bolt to the face. That puts us to 8. So they got another one, we die this turn. Our opponent has seen more than half of their deck. A Wild Cantor. That's not going to do it. Let's concede the game. So our opponent is like Rug Control. Not sure what's going to be in their deck, if I'm perfectly honest with you. I suspect these Xantid Swarms are going to be good. So let's board in the Breaker as well, in case they have any of those, anything untoward. And then we're looking at getting rid of 2 Moxes and 3 Cabal Rituals. So basically boarding similarly to as if they were Delver. And then we say submit. We don't have our guy, any of our guys, so I think we have to mulligan. This only needs a black source. I think we keep this. And what are we bottoming here? Probably have to get rid of a Thoughtseize. I don't think we're that sort of game. I think we do play out the Elvish Spirit Guide here to get the Xantid Swarm. The only issue is that is a black source gets us enough mana and we have a Pact of Negation, so maybe we're not supposed to do that just yet. Maybe we hold. We only need a mana here. We did just board out our 2 Mox. 2 Chrome Mox though. Nothing for our opponent there. An Undercity Informer. If we have to discard next turn, we will Elvish Spirit Guide out the Xantid Swarm. Snow-covered island. So let's exile for green mana and play a Xantid Swarm. This might get a Force of Will. That's one less Force of Will our opponent has for the things we want to cast. So it's kind of doing its job if it gets Force of Willed, but just not as effectively. Force of Will, pitching Dress Down. Okay, that's another thing to worry about as well. Our opponent looks like they've got an awful lot of cards for us here. Let's see what we get. A Cabal Therapy that we can't cast. Sure. Expressive Iteration, it's good. And a Scalding Tarn to follow. So our turn, we've drawn a Cabal Therapy, which means we're going to be discarding a Cabal Therapy. Whereas our opponent... Oh, I thought they were going to Mystic Sanctuary and get their Expressive Iteration back. Okay, they're just cantripping with a Dress Down. That feels wrong to me, because this is your way of stopping me from winning when the time comes. So surely you want to just keep that in hand, in case you need it. Unless their hand is so good that they feel they can get rid of that. But if their hand is so good, why are they digging for other stuff? I don't think it's worth trying to cantrip with a Dress Down. Unless they're going to put an Uro into play this turn. Oh, they're a Phyrexian Dreadnought deck. Sure, I didn't see the Stifle Knot coming. Okay, that makes perfect sense now. They want to have a clock. A Pact of Negation. Sure, so we go to discard. And we bin off a Cabal Therapy here. So if we can draw a black source, then I think we win this game. Because we have double Pact of Negation backup. We just need to draw a black source. And it has to be next turn because we're getting chonked in the face for 12 from this massive lad. Can't remember upset getting hit by a Dreadnought. It's been a long time since I've seen a Dreadnought against me. So, we have a lot of mana. None of it useful. We are dead. Sure, our deck just didn't come together and do a thing there. Which is sometimes what happens when you play these decks. Alright, on to the next round. We are on the play. We can make a turn 1 combo. I think we keep this. Our opponent is mulligan to 5 cards. We'll play this out. We will exile some Spirit Guides. We will cast a Balustrade Spy. Let's see if we can win the game. Okay. Haha, crazy 7. That's what the deck does. So I don't know what our opponent is playing. So when you don't know what your opponent is playing, you tend to board out a Cabal Ritual in favour of a Foundation Breaker, because this can go and be tutored with the Summoner's Pact. So it kind of gives you an answer to everything. That's the general rule. So I'm going to submit like this. Now our opponent did mulligan to 5, which usually means more towards the combo side of things. But I don't think we can fully board into, oh yeah, their Reanimator, which is something I did last time I played this deck. I thought, oh yeah, I just had a cold read their Reanimator, and they weren't. So we'll just do the classic board in the breaker, board out the Cabal Rip plan. So this opening hand doesn't have the creature, so we have to mulligan it. This one only requires black mana, but we also have this in hand. I think we can do better. This is better. We will keep this. We'll put the Narcomoeba away, and probably it's going to be easier to just draw into 1 mana and get the Thoughtseize on the go. So we're probably just going to get rid of the Undercity Informer. This gives us the ability to use the Balustrade Spy as a Cabal Ritual target, whereas Undercity Informer has to sacrifice. So we'll say go to our opponent. They have not started with a ley line in play, which is a step 1 that I appreciate. Verdant Catacombs. A grief. Okay, so we're about to lose our Balustrade Spy. But maybe we'll top deck one. This is one of the reasons we could have kept the other one instead of the Thoughtseize here. But if we do that, they take the Dark Ritual. So it's kind of swings and roundabouts a little bit. So I have to expect our opponent is on... Yeah, so if I'd have just gone for the full Reanimator, get him that way, then we would have been alright. If I'd have gone for the cold read. Okay, so our opponent's got 3 cards in hand. A Thoughtseize. I think we have to Thoughtseize our opponent here, otherwise we're just losing the game very short fashion. Do you have more than 1 reanimation spell? No. So we take your Reanimate, and we try and draw a Black Source ourselves and a Reanimate. Or we can draw... So we need to draw a Black Source. That's step 1. A Dark Ritual. So they're going to cast Faithless Looting here and leave themselves with 1 card in hand. There we go. They also have 1 mana floating. So if it's Reanimate, they get their Griselbrand. They do not have a Reanimate in their hand. They could have an Animate Dead though, or an Exhume. Casting an Exhume would kill us. So we don't want that to happen. It won't kill us now. So if we play this and our opponent casts Exhume, we don't lose the game. Because we can Memory's Journey the Lotus Petal, Thassa's Oracle. It was the Animate Dead, so it didn't matter. Okay, sure. But we played around the Exhume, so I'm happy with that. Alright, so our opponent is drawing some number of cards. I have to expect that we're not going to win this game. If our opponent makes an additional threat this turn, then I think we scoop. You can unmask me, my hand is bad. There's nothing in it. Okay, so going to clean up. If we draw Reanimate, we can win the game still. We can Reanimate our Balustrade Spy. We did not draw Reanimate. I don't think we can Thoughtseize here. I think we just have to pass the turn. Still on that. We can draw Reanimate. They can't cast Exhume. And it's a 3-turn clock. And our life total doesn't matter for the purposes of what we're trying to achieve by winning the game. And our opponent's life total doesn't matter, aside from the fact that it lets them draw their entire deck. Which is obviously bad for us. I don't think they can cast Exhume. I think they probably would work that one out by now. Because our whole deck is designed around getting Balustrade Spy into play. But what might happen this game is we'll see some more of their tech. So we've seen a Wear Tear, which doesn't do anything against us unless we're playing out Lotus Petals. But now we know not to do that. Although it's a case of, do we leave them in hand to get discarded, or do we play them so they can get Wear Teared? So probably still are playing them out, so they might be able to catch them. Sure, you can Thoughtseize me. Trying to draw Reanimate. The fact they didn't make another threat is interesting to me. We get to see some more of their deck as they discard yet more cards. Is this the turn we draw Reanimate? It's not the turn we draw Reanimate. We'll play this tapped. Guess we go to attacks. We attack for 1. This means our opponent can't draw more cards next turn. Now we could have hoped our opponent didn't see it and they'd attack and draw and go to 1. but I have to expect our opponent is not foolish enough to do that. And we can take another hit and still draw the reanimate and win the game. So, animate dead on our Archon of Cruelty. This means we can no longer draw reanimate because we're going to lose our guy. So we can scoop it up now. So now we know what our opponent is playing. So we go back to regular configuration, and then we want 4 Leyline of Sanctity, so we can't be discarded. We don't need these Pacts of Negation. And I think we still want the Foundation Breaker minus the Cabal Ritual here. So this is our configuration, and we will submit. What does this hand do? This hand is 1 mana short, because we don't have black mana, but we can go and get Wild Cantor and use this, but then we only have 3 mana. So we can play our guy out, but then we die to the Summoner's Pact. And if we let our opponent have a turn to discard us, he'll probably kill us. So we have to mulligan this. What does this hand look like? 1, 2, 3 mana. This is not enough. I think we have to mulligan again. This is 2 mana with a Leyline. So we don't need to have 2 more mana. I think we can keep this one. It's not going to get any better going to 4 cards, I don't think. So we can get rid of these 2. Say done. Put this into play. And then, like, a Dark Ritual. Okay, Chance of the Annex is a little bit annoying. So we need a Dark Ritual or a... if we can draw one of our lands, that would really help, because then we can play the petal around the Chancellor there. Elvish Spirit Guide. So we got 1, 2 mana because of the Chancellor. So we're still not quite there. But if we draw a Dark Ritual, we're away. Because the Elvish Spirit Guide can pay for the lowest petal. An Entomb. Sure. Is this going to be the Grizzlebrand? Yep. So they're getting Grizzlebrand into play. Not a bad place to be. Dark Ritual, please. A Leyline of Sanctity. That is not a Dark Ritual. We have to pass the turn. So if we draw the black tap land, or either tap land actually, we can win the turn after. So we use that, pay for the Lotus Petal, untap, and then we have 4 mana. Now we can afford to discard a card to a Chancellor of the Annex. Not Chancellor of the Annex, the Archon of Cruelty. Okay, our opponent's drawing 7 cards. It's usually a recipe for disaster on our end. Reanimate on the Chancellor of the Annex. So the first spell, so this is each spell I cast costs 1 more, right? Yep, okay, so we probably can't win this game now. Let's see. No, okay, we are just dead. Alright, should we have gone to 4? Like, what is the 4-card hand that you have? It's like starting mana source, another mana source, Dark Ritual Guy. Maybe we should have gone to the 4. Like, that hand was fine, it just required 1 more mana. But alas, was not a thing we had. Alright, we're going on to the next round. So we're on the play, but we don't have any of our guys, so we have to mulligan. We don't have anywhere near enough mana to be looking at this hand as a viable keep. This hand makes the guy. Yes, we keep this. So we get 5 cards. So we can't keep both Pacts of Negation. So we need Turn Timber, Chrome Mox, Dark Ritual, something to imprint on the Chrome Mox, and the Undercity Informer. So I think we put back the Pact here. And this lets us go, right? So we have this into here. So we have Dark Ritual plus this. Yeah, okay. Play this. Play 3 life. Play Chrome Mox. Imprint Cabal Ritual. Oh, no. Resolve this. And then imprint Cabal Ritual. Sequencing and all that. Black. Cast Dark Ritual. Cast this guy. They got Force of Will. They do not have a Force of Will. We don't know what our opponent's playing, so we have to do the blind thing of Cabal Ritual out, Foundation Breaker in. And then we submit. So this hand doesn't really have the mana behind it to do anything, so I think we should mulligan it. This doesn't have one of the lads, so I'll mulligan. There's a lot of stuff going on in this hand, so we can keep this one. 2 of these cards go, so let's work out what we need to do here. So we want the land. We We want a Dark Ritual. This plays this guy. So that's 3 cards to play this guy, and then 1 card to pop him. So I don't think we need the Cabal Ritual. Then we get rid of 1. So we can either get rid of the Balustrade Spy here, or we can get rid of the Undercity Informer, or we can get rid of a Dark Ritual. If we get rid of a Dark Ritual, we've got a spare guy. So if we get discarded, it's not the end of the world. I think this is fine. Depending on what our opponent plays. Okay, so played a blue source potentially, which means we want to play the Undercity Informer out because we can play around Daze. An Underground Sea into Ponder. My instant impression is I'm playing against a Doomsday deck. I think it's the best Underground Sea Ponder deck. Turn Timber Symbiosis. Okay, so we'll play this and we'll pay 3 life. We'll play out this Lotus Petal. We will cast Dark Ritual. We will play this Undercity Informer around a Daze. Okay, we just win the match. Cool. Turn 1 is good. So we are 2-2, I think, going into the final round. So like I wanted, it was a quick one. So let's finish this off. We're on the play, which is where we want to be. What does our opening hand do? It doesn't do enough. Let's mulligan. What about this one? This has the turn 1 win, which is where I want to be. So let's do that. Put back this Narcomoeba because it doesn't do anything and say done. Let's play this out. Yes, we'll play the life. Play this out. Cast Dark Ritual. Cast Balustrade Spy. Can I have my thing? I can have my thing. Cool. So we're bringing in a Foundation Breaker and boarding out the Cabal Ritual because that's the thing you do when you don't know what your opponent's playing. And click Submit. So this opening hand does nothing. Let's mulligan. This does not have the guy. So I think we have to mulligan. We still don't have the guy here, so let's mulligan again. We still don't have the guy here. But we have a lot of mana. I think we do keep this one on 4. So we don't want a Chrome Mox. This is only +1 mana. So are these. So I think we put back the Cabal Ritual and a Lotus Petal. So done. So we can Thoughtseize our opponent off of these lands and then hopefully find an inroad into the game. Soul Guide Lantern. Oakley dokley. So we need to find the... So this can find Foundation Breaker. Let's Thoughtseize our opponent. See what we're working with. Goblin Engineer and Painter's Servant. I think we need to get rid of the Engineer here. And we leave our opponent's library revealed like this. There's no point in playing this Lotus Petal now. We can't play this out, so we say go. So we can Foundation Breaker, but it will cost us our Summoners Pact. So we have to win the turn we do that to get rid of the Soul Guide Lantern. However, what we can do is use the Memories Journey plan. So we can mill ourselves. As long as we've got a green floating, we can Memories Journey back. But we can't use our Summoners Pact in order to do that. Okay, so they played an Ancient Tomb and the Painter. So that's our turn. An Elvish Spirit Guide. So we're getting there, truth be told. Won't take long. We do need to find one of the guys. So there's 8 of them in the deck. I think this is better than going to 3. Okay. It's not a very fast clock right now, but the Ezra Saga will ramp up quite quickly. A Dark Ritual. Okay. So we have everything. We just need one of the guys, right? So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 mana. So we can Foundation Breaker and play the guy. So if we draw a guy, we win the game. But the Ezra Saga might have another piece of graveyard hate. 3, 4, 5, 6. No, we have 6 mana. Yes, that's enough to do the thing. Yeah. All right. Draw a guy, please. Did not draw one of the guys. So now we have to contend with whatever comes out of the Ezra Saga, which is probably going to be the Grindstone. But if it is the Grindstone and they mill us, we can Elvish Spirit Guide the Memories Journey. Is there a way that we can do that that plays around the Soul Guide Lantern? I don't know if there is. Tricky. There's the Grindstone. Summoner's Pact is a little bit annoying here. So if we mill us, we can... So we can Summoner's Pact now for Elvish Spirit Guide or a Foundation Breaker. So we can stop them comboing us this turn. But we die to our Summoner's Pact trigger. Is there a way that we can get enough mana to survive the Summoner's Pact trigger? No. So we have to let them mill us, and then hopefully get them with the Memory's Journey plan. So we've got these Narcomoeba triggers. So now they're doing this. Okay, so now they've made a mistake. So we can exile this, and then cast this Memory's Journey. And choose target player. So, where is our Thassa's Oracle here? So we need Thassa's Oracle. We already have a Lotus Petal in hand, and we need another mana source. So Thassa's Oracle, Foundation Breaker, green source, I think. So it needs to be 2 Lotus Petals. Or is that right? Oh no, I don't think I can do it because they can grind a whole library away next turn. Pyroblast. Well, yep, that'll do it. Okay. Let's go to the sideboard. So I think we want 4 Force of Vigors here. 1 Foundation Breaker. We don't want the Pact of Negations. We keep the Cabal Ritual in, but get rid of the Thoughtseize. Does that work? I don't think we're on the Leyline Sanctum. We just want to go on turn 1 here with Force of Vigor for ley lines, potentially. Or Foundation Breaker. Yeah, okay. Because Pyroblast doesn't do anything against us, for the most part. So this is a turn 1. How much mana do we have, actually? 3, 4. So we have the exact amount of mana. So if they have ley lines, we have to get Foundation Breaker later. So we need more mana if they have ley lines. But they didn't, so we win. So let's play this one out. Exile this. Tap this for black. Cast this. Exile this. Cast this. Mill ourselves. So the thing that beats us here is a Surgical Extraction on our Thassa's Oracle. Now we could have used the Summoner's Pact to go and get an Elvish Spirit Guide before we did this, which would give us a green mana for Memory's Journey, which can stop them being able to surgically extract our Narcomoeba, but they should never be extracting our Narcomoeba, they should be extracting our Thassa's Oracle here. So I don't think I should have done that, so I think it was okay doing it without getting this Spirit Guide first. Okay, so there's a Surgical Extraction, and it's on the Thassa's Oracle. So yeah, that is going to beat us. Alright, so we got a 2-3 with this deck, which isn't a great record, but sometimes you're going to run hot and cold. It just feels a bit more apparent when you're playing a deck like this, because when you run cold, you're not playing a bunch of turns and slowly getting ground down. You're just not doing anything and you lose the game. So I think the deck's still fine. I think it's powerful, it's linear, it does what it wants to do and has a good sideboard plan for all of its matchups. Sometimes you get a bit punished, especially in leagues, because sometimes you don't know what people are running and there's some weird stuff out there, so it's a little bit hard to work out what hate they're going to have for you. Also, there's sometimes a bit annoying where you lose game 2 because you don't know what you're boarding against. That's kind of the nature of a deck that wins on turn 1 sometimes, so there's not really a good way of fixing that, which is a shame. But yeah, I think the deck's good, and I think it's more fun than you'd think it would be for a deck that just wins on turn 1, but maybe in paper you wouldn't want to shuffle up as much as you do. Alright, I think that's about us done for the deck now. So it's just time for me to do a little plug. If you could subscribe to my channel, it doesn't cost you anything and it really helps me out. And if you've already done that, like, comment, all that sort of stuff is exactly what I need to help me out. Alright, thank you for watching and goodbye.